And now we can actually get to know each other. So this spark and this attraction is going to have two components to it. It's going to have the unconscious and the conscious stuff. So the unconscious stuff is all of that old familial patterning that you're accustomed to. And the conscious stuff is often the opposite of that, right? The thing that we know that we want because it's not what we got at home, the thing that we've been yearning for and that we didn't get when we were younger or still today in our family systems. For example, for me, I have been accustomed to being shamed. And so if I met a guy who shamed me and belittled me, that would feel comfortable to me. I'd be like, yes, I deserve that. That's normal. That's family. And this relationship then would work. That was the unconscious stuff. Consciously, it was things like, I want a big, brash, bold personality because that feels like fiery and exciting to me. And at some point, we'll talk about the reality of that, which in my experience was attracting people with like mental health issues or belligerence problems. An alcoholic is a pretty bold, brash, loud kind of guy, which is not the same as grounded passion.
When you said grounded passion, everything inside me was like, yeah, I like that. My path was, I'd say, pretty interesting, going from parents who were very critical and pragmatic. So I found these two high school boyfriends where there was emotionality and depth. And so I'm like, oh, let me go towards that. That's the opposite of what I had at home. And those two burned to the ground, those relationships. So I thought, well, I must need to choose the opposite then. Emotionality obviously doesn't work. So let's go back to practical. And that was what I had with my parents. They took care of me practically, but emotionally, I really didn't have that connection. So I'm like, here we go, choose practical. And I was like, let's also choose nice and kind, because as much as my parents love me, that wasn't really the way that they interacted with me. So I was going for the nice, kind, practical guy. And that's pleasant until I realized my soul is dying here. What is wrong with me? Because this is a nice guy who treats me well and takes care of all the things. How could it possibly be wrong?
Yeah. So let's distinguish here, because there's the nice guy, bad boy duality we all know about. What's really in there that we like? So in the bad boy, it's not that he's an asshole. And yet we find ourselves attracted to assholes because we think the nice guy is boring, right? There's not enough nuance there. Like that's what gets us into so much trouble. The thing that's actually in there is that he's self-possessed. The healthy version of I don't give a fuck is I understand what I stand for. It doesn't need to be big and dramatic. The archetype of the nice guy is like a pushover. It's like, no, I actually just want you to treat me with kindness and care. It doesn't need to be boring and weak.
Imagine the possibility of being with someone who's like, I know what I stand for and I go after that and I make that happen in my life, in my relationships with integrity and care and heart. So they're kind and they know what they want and they make that happen in their life. Like, what?
What? Yeah, a warrior in the garden. That's how I've heard it described, right? Someone who can go to war, but he's like, I'm not at war. I'm actually in a garden and I also know how to do that. Hot.
I didn't know that was possible. I thought it was just one or the other. And when the one that I thought should be the one that works didn't work, I was like, well, obviously I need to course correct and go the opposite way.
Yeah.
And that didn't work either. And now I'm screwed.
Right. And so, so we're talking about the male aspect here because we are women who are attracted to men. But for dudes who are listening, there's the woman version of this, which is the crazy-hotness scale. Have you heard of this?
No.
It's very unfortunate. And all of these things, all stereotypes are true, right? We're not talking about that. We're talking about the nuance of reality, which is actually where we want to live. So the crazy-hotness scale is like there's an X and a Y axis and crazy's on one end and hotness is on the other. And basically the hotter you get, the crazier you must be is the rule of this paradigm.
I see.
So I want to articulate here for the men, if the common trope is women are crazy, the healthy, grounded, passionate version is a woman who can pick up a lot of things and put down a lot of things and move from here to there and flutter around with change, but not in a way that requires anything of you, right? She's embodied in herself.
Peace. Men want peace. Adam, he is all for all my feeling, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that, I'm interested in this, now I'm not, I'm tired, now I want to be up till 3. But he says, you bring peace. You don't bring chaos. You feel a lot of things and you move through them quickly and they're intense, but you still have a way of bringing peace into my life because you don't make me wrong.
We're talking about men and women here, but this also applies to queer and gay and trans people. These are energetic dynamics, feminine and masculine. In a relational dynamic, you've usually got one who's more the other way. This is the complementary thing, the yin and yang. If the masculine is penetrating, the feminine is receptive. It doesn't necessarily mean man or woman. Can you give us your wound attraction pattern examples?
Oh, yes. I got 3 delightful ones for you.